My name is Jason Nixon. I'm a district lieutenant for South Kohala. I work under Chris and Chief Kasaki. I've worked this county for about 17 years. I came from Maui originally. I started in '89 on Maui, and I've worked 3 different islands. And I'm supporting to get the funding for the guards at Kua Bay. I know the money is always tight, but if the old saying was once at an ocean safety conference back in the early '90s is the Hawaiian way is if you're going to invite them to your home, you should take care of them, and that's stuck with me for 20 years or more. Ralph Goda, who was kind of like the grandfather of ocean safety, he was administrator in Oahu for many years, helped us on Maui move forward. And Ralph said, bottom line is if you want to save lives, you need to put a body in a tower and a rescue tube. And that's the only way it's going to work. You can put up signs everywhere, but the only way you're going to make rescues and save lives is by putting a tower. I guess that's about all I have to say. I put a lot of years into this, and all of the people here that are here to support us want to see this happen. Gerald told me about the 17-year-old boy that we possibly could have saved if we had a chance. So I think 400, the money is a drop in the bucket. They could find it somewhere. But anyway, thank you for your time, for letting me come up here and speak.
Thank you.
Good morning to all the county council. I speak in support of getting lifeguards down at Kua Bay, and I'm really passionate about this one. It seems to me that if we're inviting our guests to come to Hawaii and we spend millions and millions of dollars in this state for public relations in the travel industry, because it serves people to come here, and it feeds our industry here. If we're going to invite guests from all over the world to come here, it is prudent for us to provide the safety measures to keep them safe. It's not good PR to have people die in our oceans. Kua Bay is extremely dangerous, and I personally have been scrambled down there. People who know the water get into trouble as well. And a lot of people, because they now have access to that bay, come here from all over the world. Fromers, a lot of the travel logs are promoting it as one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and it is. It is also one of the most dangerous. And we need to make sure that we are putting our safety measures in place in order to have our guests that we invite here go home. I think it's very irresponsible of our state to stop this at the Finance Committee each and every year. This has been proposed by Representative Evans and Representative Lowen year after year after year, and still we're having drownings there because the Finance Committee is refusing to provide the necessary funding. There has to be a mechanism, perhaps even charging visitors like we do at Hapuna to come in so that we can provide the funding for this. But we need to be creative in making sure that this happens. We can't continue to have these drownings. I really think it's irresponsible of our state.
4917, Kua Bay lifeguard. Again, as Lieutenant Nixon and as Laura mentioned, it just, to me, it makes no sense. Okay, let me back this up. Everybody rolls their eyes when an old person says, I remember back in the day. But I remember back in the day, to get to Kua Bay, you either had to hike in or there was a beat-up old Jeep road that you could go in. Anybody that went down there was a local person, a resident, and they knew what the dangers were. And the people that they took down there, they taught them what the dangers were. And when the state put in a beautiful brand new blacktop road down there, put in bathrooms, put in picnic tables, put in showers, basically inviting people to come down there and not providing for the safety, to deal with the dangers of this place. Just last week, or 2 weeks ago, we had a 53-year-old man drown down there. And at the same time, there was a drowning at Hapuna. In Hapuna, the man was resuscitated and is alive today. Kua Bay, it didn't turn out that way, even though the bystanders tried to resuscitate him. So,
in full spinal precautions, the ambulance came, and by the time the ambulance got there and began transport, the person began breathing again and had a pulse. Unfortunately, he survived. That's the fortunate part, but unfortunately, he had severely injured his spine. So he may have some neurological deficits. Less than a half hour later, at 11:14, there was another incident that happened at Kua Bay, and there was a 57-year-old male who was found floating face down, and bystanders brought him up to the beach and began CPR on him. And the eventual outcome was that he didn't survive. However, we got a letter here that this person had written to the American AED Institute of Hawaii. That's a person that does the CPR in Hawaii. And I guess he didn't know who to write this letter to, so he wrote it to them. And he said that he was a paramedic from Newport, Oregon. And while he was on vacation, then he saw a man being pulled from the surf, and then he heard somebody call ambulance. So he ran down to assist. And he said, along with some off-duty medics and nurses, they pulled the man out of the surf and began CPR until the fire department arrived. He said, sadly, there is no AED available. And, in the event that we had lifeguards, then AED would be available. And it was likely about 15 minutes from the 911 call time till the arrival of the first rescue unit. And as we heard earlier testimony, it takes at least 15 to 20 minutes before our nearest response unit can reach the scene. And that's with lights and siren going there. And he said here, it's easy for that beach to have 75 plus cars, and it is quite popular to locals and tourists. So he'd really like to see an AED get installed there, but not sure what happened, how we can do this. And, there is talk about, we need a lifeguard there. I don't agree with that. We don't need a lifeguard. We need at least 2 lifeguards there at all times. Because of the remoteness of this beach, if we have just one lifeguard and that person gets in trouble, our guard gets in trouble, then it becomes a safety issue for our guys. So we can't just, request from the state to fund one lifeguard and say, we're just going to start with one lifeguard now, and then hopefully we get another lifeguard in the future when the budget allows for it. I don't think we should do that. We should just do it right the first time, because, if we don't do it right, it will put our guys in jeopardy, our safety in jeopardy. And so that's the reason that the amount that I had projected was so high. I mean, people might look at it and say, it's too high, but again, we need that funding for the safety of our personnel.
Thank you. And thank you, Madam Chair. This is obviously, like you said, a no-brainer. It's been a no-brainer now. It's been a no-brainer every single year that this comes up. What really disappoints me, it doesn't disappoint me. It pisses me off because, we go through this every single year. Like, how many more people have to die before they put lifeguards on that beach? It just boggles my mind how the state cannot provide for the services, the safety, public safety services of our residents and all the visitors that visit down there. I stopped going down there because of so many people that visit there every single day. I remember when there was no road down there and we used to go camp and possibly illegally, but it was a place that, because it is so beautiful, we want to go down there. We want to provide these beaches. Kona doesn't have that many places to go where you have a beautiful white sandy beach. Can you explain a little bit about how the process goes with the money coming from the state to provide for these services. Is there anything that we as a county can say, you know what, we're not going to even go to the state anymore. We're going to provide the money for this service, because even though it's a state beach, I understand that. But what can you kind of bring it back to what exactly is going on and why we cannot provide the service down there that's desperately needed?
Well, basically, it comes down to money, as you all know. We have a similar contract with Hapuna Beach. And Hapuna is a state beach, but we're operating it with county lifeguards. And the way that we can do it is we have a supplemental budget from the state of little over $500,000. And that is not enough right now, because we're a little short-staffed due to the addition of a third tower that we had put there a few years ago. But the monies that we have there goes towards equipment, manpower, and even the towers when we need them. We always run short, and we have to supplement the state's allocated budget with our county budget, especially for overtime, extra hours, and equipment. So the answer to your question is, yeah, if we really want to have a service there and we want to provide it from the county, I don't know the legal aspects of it, but I'm pretty sure that we would be able to provide funding if the budget allows for it.
Thank you. All I know is the state's negligent in not providing for this service. So I'm just disappointed that every single year we have to go through the same process of urging the state legislature to appropriate a certain amount of funds for lifeguards at this area. It's just, it blows my mind, like I said earlier. It's disappointing, and we're going to be advocating on behalf of this, sitting in these budget hearings, going through the process. We're going to be there. We're going to be up there doing the exact same thing we do every single year. So I'm with you guys on this. We're going to still do that, but there got to be something got to give. Something really has to give for us to have lifeguards down at Cool Bay. So I don't know what it is, but
yeah, I mean, I know it may take really some testimony that really floors some of the legislators, and short of saying, yeah, have the family of the deceased person or somebody that actually drowned there to go up and give testimony, because there's only so much that we can say. I mean, they know that we advocate for ocean safety, but we need much more testimony towards for the legislature,
which is true, but we really shouldn't have to.
Exactly. That's just, like I said, preaching to the choir, and I am too.
So I'm hugely supportive of this, Madam Chair, and we'll be there as with HSAC to help support this measure. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kanuha. Any other comments, Mr. Richards?
Just a few words. Totally support it. You're right. We've got to take care of the people, Sayers. We've got to take care of our constituents, our own community, but also our tourists. They're invited guests. We've got to do that. So I'm there. Drew, figure it out. We'll be there.
Thank you. Hilo, any comments? Council members?
Yeah, Chairman.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Leloy.
Yeah, real quick. Totally in support of this. Right on point, Mr. Kanuha. I think the most powerful thing I heard today was about the budget and how the monies being allotted for public safety is 0.006% of our total state budget. That's unacceptable. They created the park, and the county again is left holding the responsibility of taking care of the people who use the park. And Mr. Kanuha, HSAC, with the power of HSAC, and the rest of our legislative body, we have to raise that number. 0.006% of a state budget to take care of the public's safety is absolutely unacceptable. And I stand with you folks. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from Hilo?